as to the structural sufficiency of what you're trying to do, and they will also send it to the zoning officer of that municipality to see if it meets the side yard setbacks. Maybe there's a height issue. Most residential zones you can't build over 35 feet in height, so maybe your architect goes a little higher than that.
So you go first to an either a builder or an architect or both or a combination, and then they would take the idea, the basic idea, into the local town and talk to people there and see, hey, what do you think of this? Is this going to be a major project? Do you think I can make it? Think the town will approve this?
Right.
And of course, they tell you, put in an application.
Right? As a general rule, municipal officials are reluctant, and appropriately so, to offer odds of success because they're not on the boards that are voting, first of all, and it's unseemly for them to do so. So sometimes they'll make suggestions that, wow, that's awfully tall, or that's awfully big. Do you really need a 5-car garage, or whatever it might be? Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you make a determination that you're going to go forward and need variance relief, that's usually when the attorney comes into play, and the attorney is consulted and asked to evaluate the project, and usually you're asked to offer odds or potential for success, and also you try to help people come up with a budget, both in terms of time and money, as to what it's going to take to get them from point A to hopefully getting a building permit and getting their project underway.
So they give you an application, right? They give you the application, and that application, just correct me if I'm wrong, the purpose is to submit your plans and to see whether or not you need any variances, right? That's the crucial determination. If you don't need any variances and everything falls within the code, then the building department just looks at the plans to make sure they're structurally correct.
That's right. And then they will issue you a permit.
Yeah. And if not, then it goes over to...
They will usually issue a letter of denial saying, this is a lovely plan, but you're too close to the front yard, or you're too tall, or whatever it may be. And then you need to apply to the Board of Adjustment for relief.
Okay, and how does that application go?
There is a form. Each municipality has a separate form, which is one of the things that makes land use interesting, and a separate fee structure. And you complete the application, and usually with the help of the homeowner, of course, and the help of often the architect, sometimes a structural engineer or a site engineer, then you file with the municipality. The municipality has a certain amount of time to evaluate your application, say whether it's complete or whether it's missing some particular details. But ultimately, after you're deemed complete, you'll get scheduled for public hearing, and you will have to appear before, we were talking about the Board of Adjustment, appear in front of the Board of Adjustment. These boards invariably meet in the evening, usually 1 or 2 nights a month.
And you have to give notice to your neighbors,
and one of the things that's kind of tricky to do, but it needs to be done in every instance, is you need to send a certified letter or hand deliver a letter to everyone who lives within 200 feet of your property, and even if it's just a little tip of their property touches, doesn't matter where their house is, it's the property ownership that controls. And you also have to put a notice in the official newspaper of the municipality telling the general public that you're seeking a particular relief, and you need to describe with pretty exacting sufficiency exactly what relief you're seeking, be it height, width, maybe your driveway's too steep, whatever the relief may be. You need to describe that so that your neighbors, if they wish, can both go to the municipality and look at the plans that need to be on file so they can go see what you're going to try to approve, or they can attend the hearing. And of course, at these hearings, they have a right to make statements,
right. Well, even before the hearing, some neighbors or just people in the neighborhood write letters of objection to the town.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Letters can be written, and theoretically, at the time of public hearing, board attorneys typically and traditionally rule that those letters aren't admissible and shouldn't be considered by the board unless the person who wrote the letter is there to actually put his statement on the record under oath, and then can be asked questions by the applicant or the applicant's lawyer as to why they may object. So
and the opponents can have legal counsel present as well. Right?
The opponents are entitled to have legal counsel. They're also entitled to bring their own witnesses.
Right.
So if they're worried about that your project may cause flooding on their property, they may bring their own engineer to counteract what your engineer may say in terms of the efficacy of your project. So some of the hearings are fairly spirited. Some of the hearings go on for months at a time.
Right. And at the hearings themselves, how do they vote? I mean, how's that work?
The formal rules of evidence don't apply, but it's similar to a trial in front of a jury in the sense that you've got each member of the board has one vote. All except for use variances, you need a simple majority of those hearing your case to vote. If you have a use variance in front of the Board of Adjustment, you need 5 affirmative votes to win. But basically, the applicant, if they're there with a lawyer, the lawyer then usually makes an opening statement and then calls a series of witnesses who are sworn. They're qualified as experts, and then they go through their particular proofs. Maybe the architect goes first and describes the house that wants to be built. I always encourage the introduction and the use of exhibits, in other words, drawings. A picture is worth 1,000 words, so let's get a picture of what the house is going to look like with your addition on it. And sometimes those have a very positive effect on the neighbors may be concerned, but when they see that it's architecturally significant or attractive in appearance, maybe they're not so concerned anymore. So having professionals who have the ability to generate visually pleasing exhibits is a big part of land use.
Now, Doug, we kind of run out of time already.
Wow.
I told you once we got going.
It goes fast.
Final question for you. You've been doing land use for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you know, I've kind of tracked your career doing that. I know there's not too many land use jokes out there, but how's it been for you practicing in the area of land use?
It's something I really enjoyed. I take a great deal of pride in the things that we've gotten done and gotten built over the years. I represent the Morris County Housing Authority, and we've been successful in building a number of high-quality residences for both seniors and families who might not otherwise afford a quality place to live. And when you ride around the county and see these buildings and other things that you've done over the years, there's a certain amount of satisfaction coming from trying to get it right and getting it accomplished.
Doug, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Good night. This is Mark Gruber. You've been watching Law Talk Today. We're on every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8. Come join us next week.